Okay, I don't have an opener because, FYI, I had made a new audio track for the opener that I had made for me that Ceti Alpha had did from free audio from YouTube's audio library that kept getting this copyright ID match. I put different audio on from the YouTube library. Okay, I don't. And guess what happened, Jim?
What?
It got content ID'd.
Oh, of course.
From YouTube.
Never fails.
YouTube's audio library. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I don't have an opener right now. Whatever.
Have you heard about lbry.com? It's a new like a YouTube type platform, library.com. A lot of people are jumping for videos, I think, and a lot of people are jumping ship to that. So it's something I'm going to look into that because YouTube is so finicky, you know.
Yeah. Oh, they got a little echo. First, oh no, we don't have echo. It said Ello. Paul says Ello, not echo. Hopefully, I closed out all the NDI sources, so we shouldn't have an echo. But no, I mean, I remember Vidmo and a few other things tried to take the place of YouTube, but of course, YouTube's a monster, right? It's a juggernaut. It's not going to be. Yes. Yeah. So, anyways, a little while ago, Cheshire had about a 2-hour thing with Mr. Sirius and Nick Suter from M Time, reviewing the idiot video that you had with Kyle Curtis. What?
The idiot video.
I don't know what to call it.
Kyle, I'm going to try to influence you to not resort to name calling. I might not be.
Wait, that's his name, Kyle.
How's that okay, not, that's I'm going to try my best.
That's not name calling. It's his name, Kyle.
I'm going to try to set an example because you've influenced me so much in my since we became friends. I would hope to return the favor and maybe influence you in positive ways.
And that's fair. You're really welcome to, but that's actually his name, by the way. His real name is Kyle. Not name.
Oh, no, I thought you said idiot Kyle.
No,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misheard you then.
Did I? Maybe by habit I might have, but I don't think. Did I? I don't know.
You said idiot video. Maybe I misheard it.
No, I think I said what? I don't know. Now I have to rewind. I don't know. But anyways, so Jessica had a video where she was interviewing. Well, no, she was reviewing your interview with. I think it's an interview with Kyle, not idiot Kyle. I said interview with Kyle, and some questions came up, and I think it was worthwhile to kind of explore some of these questions as they were asked, and now I will be asking them, and kind of dive into the whole reasoning of why you had the interview the way you structured it. Not to throw anything about the bus, all cards on the table. Jim is like one of my besties. I love him like a brother. I have known him in real life. We've hung out together, had an amazing time, and nothing's ever going to change that. So,
you can levy some harsh negative criticism at me. My only stipulation is, and I know you're not going to do it. We're tight. I mean, once you befriend a Marine, we're unfortunately brothers forever now. Sometimes it's tone, and I know that can seem petty, but a cordial tone goes a long way. And Chesh in the video kept citing our commandment number 3, which is valid. I'll give her that. It's ignore trolls and have thick skin. So why don't you have thick skin? Why don't you come on? And there was someone that said, just come on the show and take your lumps. I mean, it's insightful. I mean, if we can disagree and still be cordial, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. And Chess will come in here soon. She promised to be cordial, and I told Jim before we went on, if Chess isn't cordial, or she is going to be a little bit aggressive, which by the way I don't fault her for at all. But if she wants to have a conversation with you, I think she can dial it back a little bit. I think that's not too much to ask, and I will hold her to it, and she won't get mad about that because she's one of my besties as well. That's why we are grown adults, and we can have these types of discussions and not make them personal, right?
I was scheduled to go on the Daily Atheist this morning, bright and early, like a really early show, right? So last night I gave myself 8 hours sleep. Couldn't sleep because of all this shit. And man, God damn it, I'm not going to make any excuses. I saw combat in Iraq. I took shrapnel, got shelled. Not a huge deal. I think maybe, and this isn't an excuse, not an excuse, but it kind of set off my PTSD a little bit last night. Couldn't sleep. Ended up getting only 2 hours of sleep. I was pissed. So I've since talked to somebody and kind of gotten a little perspective on this, and I kind of got a little more centered. So yeah. I think I'm all right now. But that's why I say I can't. Our commandment number 23, however, is disengage from all hostility. Me, Courtney, and Chris, the host of the show, all agreed that we will disengage from open hostility. It's not productive.
Yeah,
for them, it's a choice.
Yes.
for them, it's a choice. For me, it's a necessity because I've only got one hostile mode, and it does not end well for them. And I can't ever show that side of myself again.
Yeah, I know you're all or nothing on that.
People in the chat was saying I'm a pussy, 21-year combat Marine, 4 black belts, MMA, professional fighter. I mean, fucking come on.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous.
I do have a go mode. I'm just never going to use it again.
And I will verify that is the case. I mean, Jim is not by any means a pussy or have thin skin by any stretch of imagination. I know he's either all or nothing. He is a Marine, always will be a Marine, combat veteran, have the utmost respect for him. He is a hero, true American hero, and he's, like I said, one of my besties. I love him as a brother. This is all hopefully constructive, and it will be maintained that way. And I understand that Atheist Edge rules. They abide by them. I'm a big fan of Atheist Edge. As people know, I support Atheist Edge channel. Chris was a very awesome person to have a conversation with. I love Courtney to death. I'm happy that I was able to help her get with Nick for In Time, and she's been doing exceptionally well over there. So
awesome.
This is how it's supposed to work. This is how it's always supposed to work with good people. You help each other out in the community, which has always been what I've
or even bad people. I mean,
we could differ there.
Okay, we can at least we can disagree. But I will say this: I managed to do something that you, Chesh, Reds, a lot of people would never be able to do in a million years. I opened up a line of communication. And I know what you're going to levy at me. Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you do this? So to head you off at the pass, this was an initial interview. It was to atone for things that I've done and mistakes I've made. But in addition, it was just to get a toe in the door to establish trust between both parties. Like I said, on 3 separate occasions during that interview, I made it very clear that he did you wrong.
Yeah, and let's
he knew my position from the get-go. The fact that I remained amicable, I want to be the example that other atheist YouTube channels emulate from here on out.
Yeah, and okay, so let's throw it out there then. First of all, I cannot have lines of communication with him. Obviously, I'm in a court battle with him, right? So I cannot talk to him directly. It's just something that you don't do when you're in litigation with somebody. Okay, I have a lawyer for that, by the way, he's contacted ever. He hasn't contacted my lawyer about anything. So any attempt, anything. What I want to do is have a conversation with you on things that I don't think you might be aware about, or just find out what is actually your knowledge level of it. Because I saw a lot of stuff lacking in the discussion you have with Kyle.
I am going to take notes. So if it doesn't sound, it doesn't look like I'm paying attention, I'm taking notes because I do fully expect to follow on an interview with him, maybe subsequent interviews. And
I know that Nick was saying that he was have an open conversation with Kyle as well if Kyle wants to come on. And again, for the record, Jim, did I ever say or any way tell you don't have him on your channel?
No, never.
Okay, so who anybody has on, that's up to them. And I'm not begrudging you. I'm not faulting you. Matter of fact, I think it's perfectly fine for you to have him on his channel. And I think a lot of the pushback has been what was discussed and not addressed. And just kind of let by the wayside.
Can I hit you off at the pass one more time?
Yeah, sure.
One big one. My biggest blunder of that entire interview. I went back and listened to it, and absolutely he mentioned that he was disputing the fact that it was a 50-50 agreement to begin with. For some reason, maybe I was lost in another thought. I was writing something down. I missed it in the interview. And had I heard that and had it fucking registered, I absolutely would have challenged him on that. And I failed you. I failed the community because everyone knows that not to be true. We've seen the actual evidence. But I just didn't really hear him. And so
that's one of the questions I had. Yes.
My first question to him is, in our last interview, Kyle, you implied that it was never a 50-50 partnership. Do you still hold to that? And I'm going to have the video clip. I'm going to have the evidence. How would you respond to this?
Kind of like back it up a little bit. He goes full throttle, man. First of all, Jess Ryder will be in a little while. She has a question to ask that she wanted me to ask you, but she can ask it herself. That's fine. I'd rather have her ask it because it's her question. I think that's appropriate. To clear things up, I never asked Jim to ask Kyle's questions on my behalf. He was never supposed to be an intermediary. That was not. It was. I think it was a miscommunication there, or just he was misstating things. But
did I imply that?
You did imply that, which was odd.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
No, in no way did you put me up to this. Oh, I did mention that once you found out I was doing this, you did give me a list of things you wanted me to ask him.
Well, that's not what it was. What I said was I wanted to talk to you. Chester and I want to talk to you. I said these are the questions I wouldn't mind knowing about.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't hand you a question and say, hey, ask him these questions. I was like,
that was probably misleading. I apologize for that.
Because you could run the interview any way you wanted. And you said, and you even told me, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to ask certain questions. But I said, if you have anything that I need to know about, and we tried to give you some information, but I think we were deficit in that because there's a lot of things that I thought you knew about that I'm not sure that you did. Okay.
I misunderstood you. So yeah, I apologize for that.
No problem. Okay. So first of all, like one of the first questions, of course, about that 50-50. He did say that he had, quote, evidence that it was not 50-50, which we all know as a community is just flat out not true. There's been overwhelming evidence. He admitted it. And again, I'm not going to get into specifics, not because of the court case. The court case, in my opinion, is over. But Kyle and other people have dishonestly taken what I've said and edited it and changed it. And we're just trying to avoid anything like that because it's not worth it. So this interview is, my discussion with you is I want to get more from you than from me because obviously I think you would agree that the 50-50 was definitely something that was well established.
There is no dispute, and everyone knows that. It would be beating a dead horse to even bring it up. But since he disputes it in our subsequent interview, that'll be my first question to him.
Okay, and that was one of my questions to ask because when he had said that, you just let it slide. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's already been established. I have emails on that. I've got a DBA with that. I've got Bullinator, which we'll get into with Bullinator, which Cheshire wants to ask about. We've got testimonial if we needed it from Rhetoric and from Dave McGinnis and a whole bunch of other people. And plus, we actually have his own words.
I have all the evidence. I know where to find it. I know how to get it. I don't even need you to give it to me. I can. I have it all already. It's just that, again, I must have been writing notes, or I got to go back and look and see. Maybe I was lost in thought thinking about the next question, but it didn't register when he said it.
Yeah. And by the way, real quick, if you haven't watched the review on Cheshire's channel, she'll put it in the video live chat right now, and I'll put it in the video description afterwards. Go check it out. We got to get her to like 4,000, 5,000 subs here coming up. So let's help her out. So Chesh, put your link in the video live chat. So, okay, so that's already been something established. He also said some other things. And again, there's no particular order I have for these questions. It's just as they come to me. He admits something about Teen Mom. Did you notice that? He says something about me getting involved in Teen Mom groups, right? And
now is that the Katie Joy thing?
I don't. Katie Joy does
Teen Mom.
I don't do Teen Mom. I never have watched a Teen Mom episode in my life. I know nothing about the show. People that know about the show have even said,
"Yeah,
I'm an idiot when it comes to that show," because I didn't know who Amber was. I didn't know who Janelle or Deneen or where the hell her name is. I don't know any players. I don't care.
Did I shake my head? Did it look like I was agreeing with him?
I don't remember.
Sometimes I might nod my head, just like I'm acknowledging what you're saying. Yeah. So I think maybe someone sees me, maybe nod my head and perceive that to be an agreement. No, I don't know anything about that.
I don't know. Did you? I mean, but here's when you're conducting an interview, right? I've done my share of them. I can safely say that I've done 1,000 videos. Out of a lot of those videos, they're interview styles, right? I mean, I've interviewed some very important people. Or at least had discussions. And certain things, when people say something, you have to put a stop on it. You say, wait, if this is what you're going to say, let's address it. And he said some things like, okay, getting involved in the Teen Mom crowd. I don't know anybody in the Teen Mom crowd. I know a few people that watch. What does Teen Mom have to do with me? Absolutely nothing. I have never seen a single episode. And if I had, so what? I don't understand.
Did I imply that you were embroiled in that?
You did.
In some way?
Agreed with him. You absolutely said, yeah.
I did agree with.
You said, I don't know why Steve's in any of that drama. And I'm like,
maybe I was talking about the Katie Joy thing. I falsely put the two together because I don't follow all that petty shit. I've got my content. I'll see your tweets and your posts from time to time. So I get kind of the wave tops, but I don't really dig into. So I might a false correlation between that and the Katie Joy thing, which you are involved in.
Okay.
So maybe I was thinking that.
All right. So you did verbally agree to that, and I was just like, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep track of all my apologies to you.
Nothing to do with the Teen Mom crowd. I don't know the show. I never watched any of the shows. I'm completely ignorant of that particular topic. So anybody who's saying that I'm involved in Teen Mom, what's the evidence? Because I don't know anything about it. All right. So the Katie Joy thing, You agreed that I had every right to defend myself against false allegations, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I think that I don't even need to ask, but I will anyways. You do recognize the fact that she falsely accused me of multiple things, including fraud and sexual harassment, correct?
Who's this now?
Katie.
Katie Joy?
Yeah, and again, I don't like talking about certain people, but I
Fraud
think
and sexual harassment.
this is necessitated by your video for me to
Yeah.
ask you
Yeah.
this. Okay.
I get you. Fraud, sexual. See, I don't know the details of. I just know that you and this person named. Really, it doesn't go any deeper for me than you and this Katie Joy person who somehow blocked me on Twitter, which I've never had any interaction with her, and that's really it. I don't know any deeper.
Okay. Okay, you're like one of my besties. Shouldn't you be aware, though, if you're going to have an interview with somebody and this person is talking about something like, Katie Joy, who has, it's been established, has lied about me having sexual harassment her. She changed her story 6 times by now. Legit has changed her story from first it was a Twitter thing that she had talked about, was dealing with Mercedes Carrera, then it got moved to a pre-show, then it got moved to a phone call. Okay. It just the story has changed multiple times, but I have every right to defend myself, and I will, because I think this most of the time I will ignore 99%. You agreed with Kyle, and you said Steve shouldn't respond to everything that's said about him, which is absolutely true, and 99% I ignore, which I don't think you seem to realize. I am talked about all the time. There are multiple videos about me all the time. I don't watch any of them. I have a rule. Cheshire knows this. Reds knows this. My fans that watch my shows know this. I don't watch videos from people that I blocked. Period. I will only watch them if somebody else does a review on it. Okay? But I won't watch them directly. I don't care enough to, because all it is bullshit. Straight up. They're all bullshit. They've lied about me. And so there's certain things, though, I will address. And so when the NonSequitur Show broke up, you may not be aware of this, but do you know that Kyle continued to stream to the channel with Mr. Atheist and Caitlin Chloe and a few other people and Godless Engineer? You knew that, right?
Yes, he did. Because I was still thinking with my heart at that time and not my head, and that's when I started hijacking Jimmy's Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I apologized for in the interview, was hijacking perfectly, totally unrelated tweets, threads, important ones like the NIFB church protests and stuff. And I got on there and I made a fool of myself.
And let me show you how to deal. You have a different way of dealing with trolls, but let me show you how I deal with them. I give everybody one shot. So somebody in my live chat said Steve created a secret group on Facebook to keep harassing Katie J. Paulson when he would say he would stop doing it. Where's the evidence for that? I've never created any group besides the Great Debate Community group. That's the only group I've ever created. So that is a mistake. That is a lie. And second, it's not secret. Matter of fact, Facebook doesn't even have secret groups anymore. They have public and they have private.
Right.
So that's another lie. So what you do is you ask somebody like that for the evidence. When they don't provide it, you remove them, because that's a troll. And what you do with Jim, and I'm trying to help you out here because you get them on your group, when people make false allegations, that's not... that's not freedom of speech or anything like that. All that does is deride from the topic. So you give somebody a chance. If they don't give evidence for it, you get rid of them.
Let me give you some advice then. The more you feed into them, the more you acknowledge their presence, the more you're unknowingly legitimizing their false claims.
Yeah, but
just unplug, man.
I agree with you, but this is why you call it out. It's not for their benefit. It's to other people. You show the other people, look, this is what the nonsense people are saying. And that, to me, is how you deal with them. You say, "Look, this person." Okay, so it's not.
We disagree. I still love you, though.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, they're removed. So my mods will take care of that.
Okay. Sounds good.
But yeah, this is what I'm saying.
We don't block, ban, censor anybody.
I know you don't. I do. It's not blocking or censoring. It is they disrupt from. This is the only reason I even mentioned it. You don't really I hide them right off the bat, but I want to show you when people just try to disrupt. It's not advantageous for anybody. It takes away from the content of the video. It takes away from the live chat, especially when they're out like lying. Again, I've never created a Facebook group other than the Great Big Community. That's the only one I've ever created, period.
Perfectly understandable.
And it's private, which I wanted to go public, but private just means it's not found in any search. Everything I put on that group, I don't give a shit if anybody post it. I put most of it on my public page, right? So the narrative that people run just distracts from the actual topics. Okay, Jim? So I just want to point that out.
Got it.
Okay, all right.
Got it.
So back to the Katie Joy thing. So you agree that being falsely accused of somebody from something, you have a right to defend yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And so I called her out on this stuff, and she did apologize for some of it, but she didn't apologize for the false allegations of sexual harassment. And I continued to ask her for that, right? And I will to the day I die. hopefully one of these days expect her to apologize for it. But I know it's fault. I'm like you. I'm idealistic. But everybody who's been following it knows it's bullshit. But I'm not going to roll over and go, yeah, well, it's just bullshit. Therefore, I shouldn't be concerned about it. She's actively lying. She's done it many times. And that's why I continued on it. That's not harassment of somebody. When you find somebody who has misinformation and is actively lying, there's nothing wrong with calling them out on it, Jim. There's nothing wrong.
No, there's not. There's not. If that's what you want to do, I have no criticism against it. It's just that.
But you call that drama.
That's not how I roll.
But in the interview,
and that's okay.
In the interview, though, you said that was drama. When Kyle was trying to make this weird thing that this was drama
here's the point.
Channel,
here's the point I was trying to make, and I probably just did it in a really shitty way. The point right there where I was trying to make is that Steve often lets him get sucked into these drama vortexes, and he lets it get the better of him, and he spends too much time on the drama, and he should be sticking to good quality content. Anyone that goes on your Twitter or your YouTube or anything can see that you're spending an inordinate amount of time.
Twitter's a cesspool. I've always said that Twitter is my playground and cesspool. I'm talking about my channel. Kyle was talking about my channel because he specifically was saying on my channel there was drama, and I'm like, can you give an example?
Yeah, no, I got nothing there because all I'm seeing is you spend a lot of time in social media that, for me, I would not give drama even a fraction of that attention.
Yeah,
but it's just social media.
And that's, by the way, what is your commandment where you don't tell the content creators? But I'm talking about my channel.
Number 19. Don't tell them what they should be doing. Maybe go start your own fucking channel and do things your way.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think that's a bad rule. But Kyle had been saying that I should have taken Non Sequitur and put it on this channel, which, by the way, is absurd. I think that we had pointed out, or Cheshire effectively pointed out, that that's not how any of this would work. Because, one, you're not going to let somebody get away with stealing tens of thousands of dollars. And it has been legally judged that he has fraudulently taken tens of thousands of dollars. But anywhere between $50,000 and $60,000 has been established. So that you can't just ignore that. And you can't just ignore the fact that I had 30,000 subs on that channel. I had to sue him to get paid. And I might as well sue for the channel as well, right? Makes sense, right? I mean, just part of the package. Why would I put anything on this channel related to Non Sequitur when this is not the Non Sequitur channel? That is a brand. That is something that we work together, that I helped to build, that Bullinator helped to build, right? We wouldn't want that programming on this particular channel. When Chester and I do Caffeine Corner, that's not Non Sequitur. I mean, sure, there's some things that are similar, right? But we know what we're looking for. We know what our directive is. We know what, just like you have a vision, I have the same things. But you had agreed with them, which I thought was odd, that I didn't take like Non Sequitur put over here, and then I started having drama on this channel. My drama, that you call it, was my response to people like Godledge Engineer that was fraudulently, saying that I had committed fraud, which I didn't, which he never apologized for. Mr. Atheist streaming to my channel still after I wrote him a letter. Do you know I wrote an open letter to Mr. Atheist? Did you read that?
See, I'm out of the loop. I might have skimmed over it. What did it say?
It's on, if you go to www.greatdebatecommunity.com, and I'll put it in the video description. I wrote an open letter to Mr. Atheist, Jimmy, that if he would just ask Kyle to see the money, to see if there's still money there.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I thought
that would go a long way to establishing a little bit of credibility for Jimmy, because Jimmy legit knew that it was 50-50. He lied. I'm telling you right now, he lied to his audience. He had said, I had no idea that Kyle couldn't just boot Steve off the channel. He knew. Jimmy was one of our first guests we ever had. He knew. But I had written him and said, look, I'm not going to go after you or anything like that. I only want to ask is, hey, look, you are a skeptic. You believe that you should have evidence. Why are you asking evidence from Kyle? Right? And he spat in my face. Jimmy just spat in my face. He didn't care. And then he comes out later and says, yes, Kyle lied to me about the money and having a lawyer and all this other stuff. I'm like, no kidding. Right?
He did make a public admission. I did read that as well.
Not to me, though, or not to
no publicly, fans. Just to everybody in general.
No. He didn't apologize to me, and he didn't apologize.
Not you.
Nor to the Non-Sequitur Show fans.
Oh, yeah, right, true.
Yeah,
it was just like an open apology. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't apologize to anybody but his own ego to say, yes, Kyle lied to me, but screw the Non-Sequitur Show fans.
He was the last one on earth that saw the truth.
But I did tell him the truth. My letter to him, which again I'll put in the video description, was the truth. And I gave him an out. And I said, I'm like, dude, take this out. All you got to do is just say, hey, Kyle, where's the money?
Am I the only motherfucker on the planet that knows how to apologize or to have to make restitution or seek a path to redemption? It seems like I'm the only one that knows how to do it.
I think that you go too far. I think everybody, look, I will apologize when I've done something wrong, right? And there are people in the community I apologize to when I've known I've done something wrong. And I like you, I prostate. I'm very groveling. I'm very sincere because this is how you know when somebody has remorse, when they have a sincere apology, right? And there are people in this community that can tell you, if I have slighted them and I really do think that I've done something wrong, I have profusely apologized to them, right?
Yes, you have. I've seen that.
So I have nothing against people apologizing. But I think when you apologize for things that you really don't have a need to apologize for, it diminishes things overall, because what happens is people go, oh, well, Jim will apologize for everything. He's a Canadian kind of thing. Because, when a Canadian apologizes, no offense, Chester, don't mean shit. Because they're by law have to, right?
No, everything I apologize for, I had a reason to.
In your mind's eye, sure.
Those memes, even Kyle admitted those memes were funny. He got a kick out of them.
Yeah, why apologize then?
Because me personally, that's not me. That wasn't me. That was me thinking with my emotions, and I felt remorse for that. I don't care about everyone else. And someone in Cheshire's live chat, 2 people said, he's just trying to cozy up to Jimmy Snow and Ocean Keltoy and Shannon Q and Paulogia because he's trying to get in their good graces so he can promote his channel. Fuck that. Fuck that.
It's not because
this is for me. Yeah. It's for my code and for my well-being to know that I'm doing the right thing and I'm walking the straight and narrow.
I believe you. You are an ethical person, right? You are a very ethical person. I believe you. Right? I think you do it for yourself. It's not for views. It's not to suck up to them to gain views. Anybody who says otherwise don't know you. I know you wouldn't do that, straight up, right? But I do think you do want to get into the good graces again. I don't know why. What is Paulogia? I didn't know you were out in the outs with Paulogia, who I have the utmost respect for. I love Paulogia's channel, one of the best channels out there.
I hijacked those Twitters, the names I mentioned plus many more came down on me, and rightfully so, because again, they had a really valid, important message of organizing for these NIFB protests.
Yeah, no, I see their point of view on
narrative.
that.
And yeah.
I mean, you did kind of hijack a little bit of that.
Totally.
I get that. Yeah.
It was wrong. I'm so regretful. I mean, it's embarrassing to even talk about.
But as somebody pointed out, has Mr. Atheist ever apologized to me for him streaming to my channel and valuing that channel after he had a court order that he knew Kyle had a court order, don't stream to that channel. Did Mr. Atheist ever apologize to me or the NonSequitur Show fans?
My personal opinion, Jimmy owes you several apologies. That's my personal opinion.
And I happen to agree with you. And this is especially the fact that after I went out of my way to write him a very decent letter, polite letter, an open letter, again, I will put it in the video description for people to read, that he should have taken that out. And he didn't. And so I will give people an opportunity, like you will give people an opportunity. You're a little more gracious than I am. But yeah, you're right. He does owe me a huge apology. Will I ever get it? No, of course not. But yeah, I mean, he knew damn well that, as you said, we had a 50-50 partnership and that he couldn't just remove it from the channel. But and the worst thing is, I think he owes his fans an apology too, because Mr. Atheist did lie to his fans. Absolutely lie to his fans.
The other big thing that I failed to even bring up, and once I got my balls busted for it on Chesh's show, I went, oh shit, I totally forgot to bring that up, and it was so huge. I don't know why it didn't come up. It was huge. But the 400-pound elephant in the room. Why? I should have asked him, because I forgot about the court order was already out for him to give all the shit back.
Yeah, and that was odd too. I was going to ask about that. Yeah,
it's just so on the blatant. That should have been the first question I asked. Why are you obey a court order? And that I can do that in an amicable way. I can say, Kyle, there's a court order. I mean, what's preventing you from following those legal instructions? And I never.
Yeah, no, and that's another question I was going to ask you, because you did. And by the way, you did recognize the fact after the fact that there has already been a court order for him to turn over the channel. That has already been done, right? We're waiting for what's called a motion to show cause why he has failed to comply. But unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, well, it's going to be another 30 days minimum before we have a hearing on that, which, all the courts are suffering from this. But yeah, you did recognize the fact that has already been done. So here's what way it should work, Jim, and see if you agree. When a court orders you to do something, says, hey, Jim, you do this, and you fail to do so, you have to give explanations as to why, or else you're in contempt. And that can mean censure, it can be a fine or imprisonment. You agree? And Okay,
Yes.
that's North Carolina. $500 fine, up to 30 days in jail, and there's some conditions for it. They have a remedy, but those basically that's what's called sanctions. Now, to avoid sanctions, you can fulfill the orders of the court, right? So if the court ordered Jim to do something, Jim, you could just do it, and then if you wanted to set aside everything, you could get that done. But you can't just ignore the court and say, I'm not going to do this, and then ask for something to be set aside. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Okay, so
I don't know, but that sounds logical. Yeah.
So he was ordered to do something. He hasn't gotten anything dismissed, nor will he. Okay, it's not going to get set aside. You can't ignore a court when they tell you to do something in hopes something is going to happen. You can't say, hey, look, the court has told me to do this. I'm not going to do it because, reasons later on that might happen. Right? So when you asked him, why don't you just turn it over? He said, well, I will if there's a court order. And you didn't catch it, which I thought was kind of odd. I didn't know if you knew there was already a court order on that.
I already knew. I wasn't. Cheshire is right. The way she went about saying it, I disagree with, but she is right. It was not a well thought out. I didn't have those big questions, the 50-50 agreement and the court order. I didn't have those written down, and I really failed for not asking those.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe he doesn't know that, because I'd asked just the same thing. I was like, is he just not aware of that?
No, I knew.
Okay.
I knew. I gaffed it off. But no, I will say in my defense, though, there is a way to let me know that I screwed that up in a cordial way, and using words like piss poor or sucking the dick of the enemy or come on my show and take your lumps.
I didn't say that, dude.
I didn't say you said that.
I
said
am 100% willing to show those DMs, because as many of you may remember that my DMs are open. The thing is that Jim is misunderstanding what Red's rhetoric is saying. Red's rhetoric is saying, you're on my channel, you play by my rules. I think you fucked up and I'm going to tell you that. Red's regularly has people running away and leaving his channel, and he's fucking sick of it.
He does.
So the answer is,
he does.
The answer is that he's trying. He's at a point where he's not interested in having a conversation with you if you're not even going to bother to hear out his criticisms. Like he said, his criticisms were going to be harsh, not unreasonable, not unfair, not unproductive, not mean, harsh.
When have you ever known me to back away from a conversation?
This is my first interaction with you, and it was twice already.
No, it's not. We've been on several shows together.
In a sense where we're actually in disagreement.
Red's also said, if you want the privilege of coming up, I will say, and I'm going to try to say this as nice as I can, it was condescending and it was a bit arrogant, and I don't mean that in a
Have you met Reds?
in a pejorative way. He said, if you want the privilege of coming on my show, you'll abide by my stipulations. First off, he invited me to the show. I didn't ask to come on to his show or Cheshire's show.
Not the case. I will 100% screen share it. You're lying.
Well, don't accuse. Well, hang on. Don't.
Is that right?
No. Yes, and I will show the screen share. The very first, if you want to show the DMs, I will show them.
Well, I don't. Hang on. I don't want accusations of lying. He might be mistaken, but Jim's not a liar, so I just.
I'm sensing.
Okay, well then I'm saying that he's.
Chess. To be honest with you,
I'm getting a little uncomfortable.
Hang on, Chess. You did say you weren't going to be hostile, and then out the gate you called him a liar. So let's, come on, let's dial it back a little bit.
Okay, then I will dial it back, and will say that is incorrect, and I will share the DMs if that is necessary.
So what's the accusation then? What's the issue?
Jim's claim is that Reds asked him to come on his channel. That is not what had happened. That is at best a misrepresentation.
Yeah, okay. And I didn't see. I've not seen this discussion. Okay, so I don't know what transpired.
Do I have your permission, Chesh, to say some things in this private chat? Do I have your permission, Cheshire, to say give some information from this private chat?
I mean, you're welcome to. Okay. I will. My DMs have always been known to be public if I so ever deemed that to be fit. So if you would like to do the same, of course, willing
you're
to
absolutely right. I concede. I did say that I'm willing to come on your show after the Kyle show. That's when I found out that you were planning a response. So I did say I request to come on your show. I never said anything about Reds though. And
no,
so when he said,
if you
want the
down,
privilege,
keep scrolling down. No, before you keep going, please scroll down a little bit in that position, because I asked you specifically if you would like me to pass this information on to Reds, and you said yes.
do you consider that me sending a request to him to come on his show?
You asked me to pass that information.
No, you asked me
to come.
You asked me if I would like you to pass on the information to Reds, and I said sure, go ahead. Do you consider that me formally requesting to come on a show?
I consider when you request to come onto the shows, because me and Reds we're potentially planning on having a discussion or making a response. That was what you said. If you and or Reds do decide to put out a response video, I'm guessing they might be critical of how I went light on him. I said, oh, okay, I got you. Do you want me to send this information on to Reds as well? You said yes, and we started setting up a time for you to come on.
Yeah.
And I said that Reds was already planning on offering for you to come on, but had up until that point not made that offer.
That sounded like you offering to get in contact with Reds to set up a show. That doesn't look like a formal request on my part to become a part of his show.
So do you think
but we can disagree.
it could be just a misunderstanding in that.
Just might be. It's a disagreement. So I don't consider that a formal request to come on his show.
Yeah,
So when he said, if you want the privilege of coming on my show, oh, come on, dude.
Well, Reds,
we all put our pants on one leg at a time.
I don't. I'm weird like that. All right. So since we have
that's actually not what he said. I used the word privilege. Reds said, quote, no, if you want to go onto my channel and want my attention, then you take your lumps or fuck off. What I said was, you do
that's
realize.
Hostile. I disengaged from that shit, and I'm about to do it again.
Tell you what. I will screen share. I will screen share right now, and I will show you guys the entire
that's absolutely what was said, and it was arrogant.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that it wasn't.
And I'm saying that your tone is hostile, and I'm about to pop smoke. How's that?
How am I hostile for quoting exactly what Reds was said to you? That's what you asked me to do.
It's your tone. It's the reason I didn't come on your fucking show just now.
All right. Well, let's
see.
Okay. I know. Bring it back. Breathe. Okay. So we go. So,
I am offering to show the entire context.
It's not that big a deal whether he wanted to come on or he said he would go on or Reds offered to him. It really makes no difference. It's kind of a
what does make a difference, though, Steve? Let me specify. What does make a difference, though, Steve, is that here's what was said, and I will quote it, and then if you want me to share it, I will share it. Reds went ahead and watched the interview. He thinks that you did a piss poor job and that if you talk to him, there is going to be harsh criticism. So make sure that you are up for it before accepting the invite. I'm still working on mine I would invite you to my channel separately. I'm still debating on some things. The response I got was quote, piss poor, ? Is that the best choice of words for friends to use with each other, ? I am capable of being hostile if you would like to see that side of me instead. And then I said, so I'm to assume that's challenge accepted, ? The only person who begun being hostile from the get-go with this because they did not like the terminology and or is tone policing was Jim threatening to be hostile when he came on to harsh criticism.
All right, go ahead, Jim.
To tone policing, piss poor, friendship ends when you suck the dick of the enemy. Come on my show and take your lumps. Kick her off right now or I'm off. Kick her off right now or I'm off. I'm not gonna stand for this fucking hostility.
Well, hang on.
I'm not gonna be a part
of it. Chess, I did promise Jim that he felt hostile.
Chess, I have not been hostile.
I'll finish it. But I did promise him that.
Okay,
Jim,
that's fine. I will leave amicably.
Yeah.
I will leave at Jim's request, though I do request about 2 minutes to, say the questions that I was told to bring before we even got into this. And I will also,
and then he'd come back.
And I will also request to point out really quickly that Jim's message about talking about being hostile was before any of that had been said. So just the context. So my questions are, and I'll just ding them off real quick. Okay. I'm not expecting you to respond to them right away. I'm just going to ask them real quick. You're welcome to have whatever response to you after the fact, and I will happily bow out of this waste of my time. 1, are you a lawyer? 2, how much research did you do prior to this interview? 3, what about Bull? 4, define drama for me, please. Explain what an apology and redemption means to you in the way that you are using it. And what is to be expected from Kyle as an apology and as a redemption towards towards Steve, towards Boole, and as well towards the what would he have to do to actually gain that apology or that redemption, in your opinion? And I would say that my last comment is that I think that you sold up your ethics, and I will leave.
Can you write those? I'm not going to remember all those. Can you write those down? So let me call Jim back real quick, because I did promise Jim that if it got hostile, I would fix it. So let me call Jim back real quick. Since he's off the call. It's kind of hard to call people back when they're, let's see here. Okay, let me call him back real quick. And I was keeping my promise. I told Jim I would, if it got hostile, I would remove her. So I'm keeping my promise. So Jim, she is removed. Okay, I made your promise, and you know me. I'm gonna fulfill my promise. Okay, Jim, you centered. Okay, so it's just you and I now. There are some legit questions. I'm very simple. And by the way, I already know the answer to this one. I don't know where this came from, so maybe you can answer where it came from. There's a question: are you a lawyer? I don't know where that came from. I know you're not a lawyer.
I never said that. Someone must have heard that wrong. I didn't say that.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think you've had any legal training, right?
Fuck. No, zero.
Yeah. I mean, I took a semester or two in college. That's it, and it was on tort law, but that was it. It was tort law and regulatory business environment law. So I did have a little bit of understanding of some of the procedures for legal stuff, but I got an A. Let's see here. The second question is, how much research have you done prior to the interview? Like, did you watch any of the stuff that Kyle had done? Have you listened to any of his Discord stuff?
I believe that I was wholly unprepared for, especially those two questions that absolutely should have been asked.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see here.
But I will say in my defense that this was an exploratory. I was fully expecting to just make this a toe in the door to establish a line of communication and trust between us, and for follow-on interviews.
Yeah, and I kind of do understand that in some ways, right? I mean, maybe the next time you have a discussion with them, you can ask a little bit more of the harder hitting stuff. And I respect that. So in this question here, I'm going to ask, I do really like to know about what you know about Boole. I mean, Boole was actually ceremoniously or unceremoniously removed as well, which had nothing per se to do with me. Did you happen to know that Kyle had asked Boole to lie for him?
Kyle asked Boole to lie. Oh, yeah, he absolutely did early on, didn't he?
Yes. That's been well established. He admitted this. So again, these are facts and evidence. I want to go only by facts and evidence. No commentary, no extraneous, what ifs. These are facts that have already been well established.
Yeah, I already know, okay. But I totally I forgot that one.
Yeah, so
because he was scrambling to get Boole on his side early on, and it was a private chat, but I think Boole revealed it, and I hope David McGinnis. I'm not going to reveal what David and I have been talking about today, but I've been getting a lot of good information that I didn't know before from the other Dave. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave was integrally involved in a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, he really helped me through my and now, he helped me. He talked me down last night when I was trying to get to sleep, and now it's all back. It's all back, and now I feel like
have a beer.
God damn it!
I can't say the name of the beer because we'll get demonetized. But whatever.
We can probably already know. Can't say the name, but
What do you think of the idiots who actually think that you can catch the virus from the beer? I mean, how dumb do you have to be? This is like flat Earth level, younger creation
flat Earth
level
mentality.
Stupid. Yeah, it's so dumb.
And I was going to send something that I would have really regretted. It would have sounded like a credible threat when I was in that chat with them about trying to explain why I don't resort to hostility. Because Courtney, I mean, it's our code. Courtney and Chris live by it, but they live by it because they choose to. I live by it because I have to. And I was going to put in there that I've only got one go mode, and that ends with someone drinking their dinner out of a hospital straw for 3 months. and that would sound like a
Yeah,
credible
I would
threat.
never want to
So
piss you off at a bar. I mean, but I think that you would punch a wall before you'd ever hit me. But let's hope
when
that
we
you would.
met at the airport a couple months ago, and you said almost crushed your brittle bones just giving you a big hug.
He gives the best bear hugs though. If you're like your bones cracked.
I'm sorry, I
No,
didn't know
don't
you.
be. Dude, I liked
the
it.
unbreakable guy. No,
I
I'm just
liked
joking.
it. I liked it. You are who you are, and I enjoyed my time with you. Okay, so the thing with the Bullinator is that, when you kick a producer off that did nothing wrong, and I think asked the producer to lie, not you, but when you ask a producer to lie for you, you automatically are starting to show your hand as being an uncredible person. I think it's well established that everything he's said so far has been incredible. I'm the only person, and I'm just going to say this, I'm the only person that's been consistent from day one with all the evidence, transparency, and being out there. And because I was, people twisted it, changed it, and manipulated it for their own nefarious purposes in order to get views or to try to attack my character. This has been established as well, I would believe. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So he has actively done that. And so when he was talking about drama, did you not catch when he was talking about drama? Do you know that he actually had said that one of the reasons why this case is drawn out for so long is that because every time I do a video, he's taking that video, sending it to his lawyer, and his lawyer has to sit through the entire video because of things being said. Now, we know that's not the case because he never had a lawyer. He did lie about that. That's been established. He never had a CPA. He lied about that. So he wasn't sending the video to any lawyer. And so the whole prolonging thing has been a tactic that he's been doing from day one. So when he talks about drama, what do you define as drama?
The more I think about this, I have to really work on my naivety because I try to see the good in all people, and I keep holding out hope that he's going to try to set himself right. And I know he made some serious mistakes in the past prior to this court case. It landed him in prison. But I keep holding out hope that all people are capable of redemption and trying to give them that out, that escape hatch. And maybe, and I'm not saying this with Kyle, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but maybe there are some people that are just never going to get it.
Yeah, no, I by the way, I hope you do come to that rationalization and conclusion because I had to reach that wall myself, right?
Yeah.
It's a harsh reality. It's a harsh pill to swallow. It really is. Because I was like you. I never expected to see the worst of humanity as I have since I've been in the internet. I lived my whole life not worrying about. I've always been an ethical person, and I pride myself on it. I was military as you were. We have a code of honor. We understand ethics.
You know what's different about you than most people on the internet? You behave the exact same way in real life that you do online. So most people have like a double personality.
Yeah, you have met me in real life. When I tell people I am what you see is what you get, until you actually meet me, right, or know who I am before I even got on the internet, you may not believe it. But when I hung out with you, I was exactly the same way I am here. I don't put on personage. I mean, we all get a little bit more animated, but I am just me. And by the way, I loved the interviews that we had on Atheist Edge, what I had with you and Chris and Courtney. Love them. I want to do it again. I will fly to Texas while flights are cheap, just to when you're filming one day, if I can stay on TV.
It was the highlight.
Couch.
You and Sweet Heathen coming down to visit us was the highlight of this year.
Yeah, we absolutely loved it.
And most of those interviews you did it fighting a massive hangover, which was double.
Oh no, I didn't really have a hangover that much. I didn't drink that much.
Oh really?
Yeah. What it was I just up very late taking care of people who did have a hangover.
Got it.
Yeah. Jim was messed up, man. Not you, but the other Jim Majors was messed up.
Oh, Jim Majors, yeah.
Oh my God. TJ was a little faded too. But yeah, so I mean, I must want to make sure that everybody got home correct. But I was up late. I didn't have very much to drink. I can't drink very much, so wasn't really suffering a hangover. But I did have a little bit to drink. But for me, 2 beers is a lot. And I had a shot. And what else did I have? I had 1 shot, and I had a mixed drink or something. That was it. So 2 drinks. But 2 drinks for me is a hell of a lot. So even though I have rum and coke nights all the time, right? So what do you mean by drama? I will tell you what I mean by drama. And then you can say what you mean by drama. Drama to me is when people have to fabricate things for views or for monies, right? Because drama would be, hey, you know what? I'm going to talk about Jim, about something about his personal life that's irrelevant or makes shit up. And then I'm going to do it just because I want the views out of it. That's drama, which I've never done.
I would extend the definition a little bit broader to mean even stuff that does affect you, but could easily just be ignored and carry on with your good quality content.
And I do.
Do you see what I'm going?
Yeah, I
See
do
where I'm going
99%.
with that?
I
All
do
right.
99%. But when we first got out of the non-sequitur thing, this was prevalent. This is something that people wanted to know about. And I told my fans, and I told the non-sequitur show fans, I would give them transparency. And I did. Right? I owed that to them. And so when like Kyle's talking about owing the fans, I can tell you right now, he didn't give a shit all about the fans. And you can ask Bull about that. It wasn't about the fans to him. To me, I kept in touch with all the fans because that to me is your base. And people, and you can verify when you message me or anybody else messages me, I always get back to people almost as soon as I can. My members and my Patreons instantaneously, if I'm available, if I'm not out somewhere. But I have one of the easiest people to get a hold of. Am I not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
you're the most approachable person I know.
Look, I mean, even when I'm not home, I got this. I've got a Nexus. You know.
Yeah, but you're so embroiled in so. I worry about you too.
Oh,
I worry about your well-being, and
I mean,
you're keeping up a pace, and you're spinning so many plates right now that I see a heart attack in the future.
No. You know what's funny? First of all, I thrive in high stress kind of stuff because it's what I'm used to. For the military, that's what I'm used for my job with Circuit City and Kohl's. It was high stress kind of stuff. But I went in 2 years ago. I had a physical kind of thing because I had a problem. They did an EKG on my heart. And do you know what the guy said, the tech said? Quote, he said, do you want to see a perfect readout? I had a textbook readout. A textbook. What he said, do you want to see a textbook readout? My whatever the lines are, you know, I don't know how to read a EKG, but he was like, it's perfect. So don't worry about a heart attack. Something else is going to happen probably with me way before a heart attack, but I'm good.
This illness that's going around is a respiratory disease, and I do this too much. Yeah. So I'm a prime candidate, man. I'm a
vitamin E, baby. Those vaping.
I gotta quit this, or I'm a dead man.
So do you think you and I have a difference in what we call drama? Because again, I've always said that drama to me is not responding to people. Like for example, when I have responded to false allegations, that's not drama.
Yeah, but everybody, all the viewers, watch this. Steve and I disagree on something. Oh, look, we're still amicable. We're still friends. That's how you fucking do things.
I agree. And by the way, no, Cheshire was not kicked off. Cheshire left voluntarily because she's an adult. contrary to her age, only being 17, she's considered an adult. Let's see here. She had asked though, what happened at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I don't know what that refers to, so I have to skip that one. The question is, what is to be expected from Kyle as an apology or redemption? So what do you think would be something that can be construed as a full-on redemption and apology? Because one, monies are owed. Even you said that every content creator you talked to said that he owes me money and considerable amount.
At this point, I've done a lot of growing just since that interview, I think. At this point, I know it to be an act of just sheer wishful thinking, and it will never come to pass. But to answer your question, a path towards redemption would be him immediately giving you all the passwords, the analytics, the books, start a payment plan on residuals for past payments. All the peripheral, the Teespring, the Patreon, dump that over to you immediately before any other further court rulings, fall at your feet, beg for forgiveness publicly. What else? That would be a start where he could maybe start to dust off and get back on the horse.
And let me ask you this. There was a couple content creators, Jimmy was one of them, that had actually said that Kyle was going to pay me the money. They believed that Kyle was going to pay me the money. Now that it's gone to court, now there's been a court order. Now there's no court order to pay me yet because we have the way the courts are set up. You have to get the judgment, and then you have to see the financials, and then you have 30 days after you get the financials. He didn't give us the financials, right? He wrote a letter, and he wrote all this other stuff, but nothing in there was actually financials. That was all just crap, and it's been dismissed. My lawyer it's not acceptable. The judge is not going to accept his financials either, because obviously he doesn't even know what financials are. But that's not what we're asking for, what he gave us. It was unsubstantiated, it was unaudited, there was nothing financials relating to those things. So we can't even ask for money, because we have 30 days from when he gives us financials, which he didn't give. This is why we have an order for show cause or order for contempt. But at this point, once we had legal proceedings, that promise that Mr. Atheist had and other people said that I'd get my money, that was nullified. They were wrong. Would you agree?
He did say that, didn't he?
Yes, and
I remember that.
And
yeah,
and do you know what happened?
I don't think that was a lie. I think that was just
not a lie.
Wishful thinking.
Not a calling it a lie. I was going somewhere.
Yeah,
with it.
he just made a prediction.
He
which
made a prediction,
didn't come
right?
to pass. Yeah.
Well, no, he basically made a kind of a unsubstantiated promise that
Based on some inside knowledge
right.
he had.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He even said they even said based upon what Kyle told him and some other stuff, and he was making an
Okay.
unsubstantiated promise to me that Steve, you would get paid. And I was like, okay, this is why I said, hey, I'll believe you if you ask him where the money is, right? This is one of the reasons I wrote him that letter. When he found out that I was not getting paid, and I asked him, are you going to, take back your promise? Are you going to say that, you're wrong on this? Do you know what he did? He blocked me.
Yeah.
That's not a road to redemption for anybody, right?
Advice usually isn't a one-way street in our relationship, but I'm going to just give a little bit more. At that point, that's when you just unplug from him.
I did.
He's a dishonest actor. Just unplug from him. Hope that he, you could, if you ever talk about him publicly again, just hope that he seeks to redeem himself. And then just let him be a distant memory from here on out.
Jim, I'm actually willing to have Mr. Atheist have a path to redemption. He's actually forgivable. I hate to say it. And a lot of people, I know people on my own side are going to give me shit for that. I don't have it within me to hold a grudge.
What about the Gleason twins? Do they have a path to redemption?
That's rough.
That's a good question, right?
Can I get back to you on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to think about that.
I have to think of that one too because I'm not prepared to answer that one. But Mr. Atheist, I think if Mr. Atheist said, "Look, Steve," because you had. I'll give you an example before I get back to the questions. You had something you posted on Facebook. You had a mea culpa. You had a coming to Jesus moment, so to speak, and you basically apologized for all that stuff. And that was up to you. Whether I agree with you or not, doesn't matter. But one of the things that came out of it is that I was like, okay, look, there are certain people that I don't have within me to hold a grudge to because it's just too much wasted effort, right? And I reached out to Thomas Westbrook, right? And you saw it, right? And even Thomas was just like, yeah, you know what? Maybe it had a misunderstanding, blah, blah. And so we're at least on a neutral ground. And I still been trying to get a hold of him. I have in passing, but he's really busy and I've been busy. But I have no animosity toward him whatsoever, right? I have a lot of respect for Thomas. But your Facebook post, I was like, yeah, is this somebody that I really need to hold a grudge to? No, because I think Thomas has had a misunderstanding. Maybe I did. I don't know. Both of us.
Did that post kind of influence you a little?
Absolutely. Yes.
Aw.
Yeah, of course it did.
Steve.
It was on that post I even that I mentioned.
That's awesome.
Right? I was like,
you know what?
Yeah.
Mentioning Holy Kool-Aid, and I'll even throw in Anthony Mandabosco with the whole, I don't know if you're familiar with all the kerfuffle with the anti-theist convention going on.
Yeah.
Those two.
No.
Anthony Mandabosco and Holy Kool-Aid, they are, I think I'm the example for our community. No, those two are the example.
Anthony Mandabosco is about as mellow as you get.
They rise above it. They seem to be made of Teflon. They rise above all. Even when drama tries to suck them in, they just go, not going to be a part of it. And boom.
I know.
It doesn't stick to them.
Anthony especially. I've talked to Anthony many times. He has one mode.
That's where I want to be. How do you get there? That's
I
what
don't
I want
know.
to be.
I'm not like that. I don't want to get that way. It's just how he is. It's not bad or good. It's just he is. Yeah, but I happen to like talking to Anthony. I think he's a great guy. But okay, so next question. Will you change your title?
What do you want it to go to? Chesh,
I don't know.
I'm not looking at the live chat. Whatever she wants me to call it, I'll call it, unless it's Jim Hall is a fucking retard.
Well, I think it's a whole candid thing. I think the way we think of something as candid is unedited.
I'll change whatever Chesh wants to change it to. I'll change it. So she can DM me. She can put it in the chat and just tell me. I'm not watching the chat right now. I'm trying to focus on the interview. I always pay my
chat, but I'm way behind, so I've got to catch up because I haven't caught up with my chat. So please forgive me, guys. If Jim, if Jim did the interview, this is from Ed Stack, by the way, he's saying, if Jim did the interview today, what would be different?
Well, first off, that 50-50 agreement, I would have fucking brought that up. And the second, the fact that there was already a standing court order and I didn't bring that up, that was, and you know what? Name calling is on my list of commandments, but you can call yourself a name. I was a fucking idiot for not bringing those two up.
Yeah, and again, I just like I said, I wasn't quite. I'm going to try to catch up on the questions here real quick, but I wasn't quite sure if you knew about those things, and now I find out you did. So,
no, I would do it in my style.
Yeah,
I would do it non-confrontational. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, like I said, if there's anybody that knows more about what's going on about all this with NonSequitur than me, I would like to know who they are, right? And so prior to you having this discussion with Kyle, I did get with you. We did have a little talk, but it's kind of hard to relate years worth of stuff. And this is why I was thinking, well, maybe.
And I was drunk off my ass that night.
You were drunk.
I don't remember. I didn't write any of it down. You and Sweet Heathen, it was, and we had just finished 12 hours of studio recording.
But let me ask you this: Did you read any of the court papers?
You did pull some up on screen share,
I did,
right?
and I sent you.
And hold on, oh God, I was drunk that night. I was seeing 3 of everything. Dude, okay. I don't.
All right, well,
you did show me court papers, though. I remember that.
I was curious. All right, so I mean, if anybody else had any questions, I mean, this is kind of the only things I had is that again, like I would have asked, well, hey, where did the money go? Right? That should be a blanket question.
Well,
like,
that's kind of you and I both know. Why do I even need to ask? It seems kind of provocative to even ask him because we already know.
Well, that may be the case.
There's no money, still. Steve. The money's been long gone.
We know this, but
it almost seems okay. But it would come across as openly hostile or provocative if I asked him that.
I don't think so, and this is the reason.
I don't know.
Well, I see whether the money's gone or not. It hasn't been officially established. In what he said to the court, there's zero money, which actually is just.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. He again, the court papers I sent you. He said there's no money in the account. But 1 month prior, he said, "Oh, there's money in the account waiting for Steve. It's just that I can't send it to him because his accountant or his lawyer or he doesn't. He literally had changed from I've set aside money for Steve, which by the way, because he was running this whole quote unquote fraud thing, right? Because tax for medical and for social that I never have collected. I have no Social Security. I have zero disability from the military. Zero. And I get nothing.
Even if you were receiving, I receive 90% military disability for Iraq and I did a full 21 years in the Marine Corps, so I get a retirement check. So I make $4,000 a month just sitting on my ass.
Yeah, I get zero from the government.
And if I were in your position, if I had a show taken from me, that income wouldn't factor in at all.
Well, I agree with
you.
But facts are facts, right?
Yeah.
There were people lying and saying that I had disability, which I have zero. I have a zero rating. People lying I have Social Security. I get nothing from Social Security, zero. So nothing would have affected any of that, right? And I was very honest about me wanting. I had a hernia operation that I wanted to have taken close to me, like 4 miles away, rather than have to go 4 hours. But other than that, I just wanted to look over to see if it was worth it, right? So there's nothing misleading. But he even said, "Oh yeah, well, all the money that I'm just waiting for tax season. All that money has now been set aside." And when we asked for it, he didn't give me the name of the CPA. It's like, "Who's your CPA?" He's like, "Well, you just have to ask, my accountant guy for it." Okay, who's your accountant? Oh, let's talk about some other subject. This is what he did for months.
I did see one of his court documents that at the bottom was LegalZoom. So maybe he's trying to do this all on his own. It's just pure speculation,
he's pro se. He has no lawyer. He's pro se, and his motion he actually copied from a Nevada court case, word for word, on how to represent yourself pro se to have a motion set aside. He had asked for things we didn't even have motions for. He asked for a stay of execution on a motion that we didn't have a motion for that, right? If I have a motion for an execution of something, which means like to go out and get monies from somebody, that you would ask for a stay on that if you want to try to fight it. We didn't ask for that. He literally just asked for things we had no motions for. It was verbatim from a do-it-yourself copy and paste from a Nevada court case that had no relevancy to anything that we were talking about. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. I wish he were better with money for his own sake and more importantly for your sake. But I don't think he's very good with money. And I don't know if it would be pure speculation to bring up any addiction problems he's had in the past. But yeah, that's just a damn shame too. But and I said in the interview, I mentioned I pulled out a $60,000 number. Yeah, right. I think 100,000 might be closer, but I said 60,000.
Yeah, well, he claims it's 50,000 income. I think he's a little shy on that.
All right,
but
I said, listen, Kyle, if I had potential $60,000 check I had to write coming up, man, I'd be taking this a little more seriously. And I said that multiple times. I said, man,
it's way more than that, though.
it would behoove you to try to fucking start some sort of path to redemption now, because I couldn't. I'm on a fixed budget. I don't have a full-time job. I edit videos 6 hours a day. That's my life. And so paying off 60 grand.
It's more than that. Let me tell you why.
Let's paying off $100,000.
We've already been
check.
approved. We've already been approved.
God.
We've already been approved for treble damages.
It would take me forever to pay that off.
So
he doesn't want that hanging over his head.
He's actually said that it's 50,000 income. I think that's a little shy. I think it's more around 60 because again, we're going by what was the estimates by what we last saw. But let's even assume that it's 50,000. Just for, by the way, people are like, oh, it's nowhere near that. Steve's owed like $2,000. No, we're talking. What's half of 50,000, Jim? $25,000.
Don't ask a math question to a Marine. I barely got that correct.
We've already been approved for 3 times treble damages. Okay, that's actually been to the court that we've already been approved for that. If you look at the way it's read, what's 25 times 3? 75. Plus, we may or may not get legal fees. I think that we will, which figure $5,000 to $10,000 in legal fees. You're looking at about $80,000 minimum, right? And by the way, I think we're going to sue for even more than that, because there's up to even $25 for $1,000 for the fraud. But we're looking at a sizable amount that he's going to be on the hook for. And by the way, you cannot discharge through bankruptcy. And it's good for 10 years, and it's at 8% interest, simple interest.
Even though I think he probably has this, he brought this on himself. Is it wrong of me to just worry about him having all this hanging over his head?
You absolutely could worry. I have nothing wrong with that. But can you tell that he's not taking it very seriously? Because
no, he's definitely not.
And do you think that my fans and the NonSequitur Show fans, but because they were rabid fans and they loved the show because it was a good quality show. One thing I do agree with Kyle on is that we put forth good product, and it wasn't just because of his graphics as he thinks it was. We had good content because the content was what we wanted to do, and a lot of that was stemming from my background, and a lot of that was stemming from my knowledge and topics, and a lot of that was from people that I brought to the show.
But here lately, you've been booking some good guests, and
I got a lot more in the hook. It's just I didn't want to.
Oh, dude,
yeah, I got a lot more.
I think you're on track to.
I'm not
forget
NonSequitur.
Yeah, I think
But I got to bring it every so often. I'm bringing in Dr. Josh Rasmussen next week if you know who he is.
No.
Okay, but I mean, I have to bring in somebody, but I'm saving some of the bigger names before we get NonSequitur Show back. But yeah, I mean, I'm not just sitting on my ass. I am contacting people. I'm helping James out from Monterey Debate. He's gonna be helping me out a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna start moving forward. I've been spinning my wheels for too long, but now because of the virus stuff, I can't wait another 30 days to put this kind of content on my channel. And so we're going back to having the philosophical things, the Ask a Philosopher, the maybe Defco on Science. I'm going to bring in some PhDs. We're going to have the discussions I used to have. And hopefully people will start watching more. I'll get more views and people become members and Patreon, because that's what I do survive on, because I do not have an income from the government as people lied about. Right. So.
Oh, I had Hemet Mehta on. It was pre-recorded, so it'll be out later. But I interviewed Hemet Mehta for an hour and a half yesterday.
He's a nice guy.
Oh my God, you're gonna love this interview. It was so fun. You guys are gonna love this.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you know Hemet, right? And Hemet was on the NonSequitur Show channel. He was one of our first guests.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of our first guests. I had written a blog about him because I think he got some things wrong. I think his understanding of agnosticism is flawed. Okay. And that's a philosophical thing. It has nothing to do with him personally, because I think he's a real nice guy. But I had
another thing you influenced me on. Remember how bad I pushed back when we first started? Yes, we did a 3-hour show on my channel.
But you took the time to think about it.
I finally saw the light.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Anyway.
But anyways, and TJ was the same way. TJ was even more so, but TJ even has to admit, yes, Steve, I've looked into this and he agrees with me now. So, but Hemet, I wrote a blog, and the very first thing I said about Hemet was, hey, look, this is nothing against Hemet personally, because I happen to have the most respect for him. He's done a great amount of good. He's a nice guy. But I think that he made some mistakes. And I think that as a non-believer, like he's a non-believer, I don't have to be an atheist, he is, to call out our own, right? And say, look, I think we made a mistake here. There's nothing personal about that. Anybody can do it. People do it with me. And friends of mine, hey, Steve, I think you made a mistake, this philosophically speaking. Okay, great. What'd I do? Let's talk about it. I had somebody, and I'll even say who it was because we mentioned her name earlier, and after this, hopefully I won't have to mention her name again because we're avoiding it. But Katie Joy had said, well, Steve's such a bastard. He went after such a nice guy like Hemet, just berating him. And I'm like, what? That kind of narrative, that kind of bullshit is what I call out.
Name calling. I think it's commandment number like 9.
Who'd I call?
That's when I unplug. You name call. I'm sorry,
Who'd
but
I name
if
call? What?
no, her. If she
Oh.
called you a bastard,
Oh,
that
she
it
called me
would
all kinds of stuff.
that
Oh,
would
yeah.
be a showstopper.
But this is
for
why
me.
we don't talk about her anymore, because it's already all out there. People like know she lied. People, I mean, how much am I going to? What more than any to say on it? But they didn't know about the Hemet stuff because she was trying to make me out to be this bastard dude saying, "Oh, look at Steve. He even went after the nicest guy in the world, Hemet." No, I went after some of the things that he said because I thought he was wrong. But I made it very clear in my blog that he's a very nice guy. This is how people twist things, Jim. And this is what you have to watch out for, because I know you have a big heart and I know that you want to look to the best in people, but you have to also realize these people are not honest interlocutors. They're dishonest agents, right? And when you do that, when you say, "Hey, look, Steve must be a beanie poopy head because he went after Hammett Mantet, who's one of the nicest guys on the planet," and he is, but that doesn't mean he can't be wrong about certain things. And he was wrong, in my opinion, philosophically speaking, about the topic that he was discussing.
Yes or no? You can be abrasive at times.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you had to do it all over again, could you have approached him in a different way?
No.
Because he is the friendly atheist after all. I mean, if you get into it with that guy, you know where the problem lies.
The reason why
Come on, Steve.
No, I didn't get into him. He never responded.
All right.
But let me tell you why I wouldn't have done anything different. I had reached out to Hammett before he came on NonSequitur, before we even had NonSequitur Show. And I had reached out to him and I said, "Hey, look, I do think that you have some misunderstandings here or whatever." And I was very polite about it. I didn't word it like that. But I was like, "Hey, can I talk, you mind talking about this particular topic? Because you said these things and I'd like to have a discussion with you on it." He wasn't interested at all. He just like, I have too much going on. And I respected that. Left it alone. Didn't say anything about it. Just left it alone. But then he came a guest. He didn't remember this conversation. But then he came a guest on the NonSequitur Show. Had a great time. I think was an amazing guest. And then he continued to say things that I thought were false in a future thing. And I was like, okay, now I have a rapport with you. Maybe I can get to have a conversation with you on it, because you are saying things I don't think is correct, which I think is perfectly fine. Okay. But he never responded to me. But we cannot be tribalistic of our own. And I'm sorry, we are in the same tribe. You and I are in the same tribe of non-believers. Right? We're in the same tribe. But
I never like to assign myself to a tribe, but I'll give you that for the sake of discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you said, "Hey, Steve," and you said something that I thought was philosophically correct, I will, "Hey, like Jim, let's talk about it." And by the way, I get called all the time. You don't think I get called out? Ozzy would be like, "Hey, Steve, I think you messed up here." Right? And when Ozzy says, "Hey, Steve, I think you messed up," you go, "Shit, what the hell I do?" Right?
How often are we private chatting? I'm telling you, you fucked. Come on, all the damn time.
This is what we all do to keep each other in check.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes we recognize it, and sometimes we have rebuttals, and then go, "Okay, maybe it wasn't the case that you messed up." Right. It's a checks and balance systems, right? Because even when Ozzy will say, "Hey, I think this is incorrect," we have a great dialogue about it. And 9 times out of 10, I do change my position, but not always. I think that we've had some good discussions, like on theological cognitivism. I think that he and I balanced each other on it. I don't think that we really had that much difference, but we weren't fundamentally like on opposite ends of the spectrum on that particular topic. So it leads to good conversations when you have disagreements of that type, right? So when Hammett, I think, has these things that he says, I would love to have a discussion with him because he is the friendly atheist. He's a nice guy. But do you understand that the narrative that was put out there is like Steve's a bastard because he's just treating Hammett like shit? Of course not. I loved Hammett. I thought he was great, right?
Maybe there's a little misunderstanding there. Yeah, you're right.
No, it's not a misunderstanding. This is deliberate.
No. Misunderstanding on their part. They're reading you wrong.
No, I disagree. They are deliberately changing it in order to try to.
See, God, I got to learn how.
It's absolutely deliberate. I telling you, it's deliberate.
Yeah, mate. Gosh, it's not always productive to try to find the good in people. Sometimes that can bite you in the ass. I'm learning something today.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I respect that you do try to look for the good in people. I used to be that way too. I was naive for the longest time until the last couple of years. And you know what set me straight?
Damn it! I weep for humanity if I'm wrong.
Is the fact that I had years on the internet to see just how shitty people can be.
Yeah, but there's online persona. Like if you get them in a bar. I was at the last Bible and Beer Consortium. John Loftus, they flew him down. He debated some Catholic, right? And 2 really big trolls on my channel, like really known trolls, were there. And they tapped me on the shoulder when I was ordering my drink, and they bought me a drink. And they apologized. They were completely different people in real life.
No, sure. No, I get that. Look at Ceti Bernicate. We have great discussions, right? I mean, his online personage and him off, like when he's not on air or anything, it's a little bit different. I have a great rapport with the guy. I actually happen to like him. Do I think he's honest in some of his approaches? No, but we disagree.
Are there any other questions? I don't want to try to wrap this up, but I want to tie up all these loose ends. If there's any other open questions out there.
Well, let me ask the live chat here. What you got for Jim or me? Like I said, I'm an open book. You can ask me anything you want. This is what I'm saying. I will be interviewed. Jim can interview me. Rez Rhetoric might interview me. I've got a podcast on Saturday that
I would like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like you on since we're all sitting at home anyway. This would be great. I'm using this opportunity. I've been giving people the rain checks over and over, and so I'm using this opportunity to.
Oh, did he freeze? You froze. You use this opportunity for what? I think you're freezing. Or is it my connection? No, it's your connection. Repeat what you just said. Using this opportunity as what?
Yeah, it's probably. Oh, as long as we're all sitting at home, I've been using this opportunity. There's a lot of smaller channels that I've been giving them rain checks for months, saying, yeah, I'm going to try to come on your show. So I'm going to come, and I want to still come on Math Pig. I'm going to be on Demolished Doctrine tomorrow night. So when
are you going to be on the Daily Atheist? Because I thought you were supposed to be this. I'm going to be on Saturday.
I was on Daily Atheist this morning. Aaron Ross tomorrow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on Daily Atheist Saturday live.
Oh, you get to follow Aaron. I'm glad I'm not in your boat.
And
that
by
sucks.
the way, we went to the Atheist Book and Christian Book Club, right? Really agree. I got to tell you, everybody there was one of the nicest people ever. I was treated so much with respect, and people that I had no idea who they were, right? Because they're not really part of the community. Came up to me like, dude, they're like shaking my hand, going, hey. You don't know. I love your content. I think you've done an amazing job to help the atheist community.
These were Christians saying
they were Christians and atheists both saying it, right? They were working together. And
isn't that awesome?
And and when I had found out, and I believe that was you actually had said it, because you were paying attention to all the chat stuff, that the response was one of the most overwhelming that they've ever had, even more than they had Richard Carrier on, and they've had Aaron Ron. Now I will say this, I think that I would have done things a little bit different. I was expecting a little bit different thing when we're talking about epistemology. I thought it was going to be more about knowledge. I was going to get into some of the specifics that we didn't get a chance to get into about what it means to know something, which was the topic. So I was a little off topic. I will take the hit for that. But it still was enjoyable, and I was just going with the flow. So
yeah, that broke record. It almost broke a physical attendance record, but it did break the live chat record. And we've had just pick your big name. Even on the Christian side, we've had Tim McGrew, Justin Brierley, Frank Turek in person, sitting there in the place, and you broke a live chat record.
Yeah, and I was flattered by it, right? So I like to think that I am making a positive influence. When people say that, oh well, Steve's not doing anything constructive. Well, I get messages every day from people that have thanked me for helping them with a lot of these topics, and so I know I'm having a positive influence. I've had a positive influence of you that you mentioned before. I have reeled it back a little bit because I've just been busy with other stuff in the court case. And by the way, I don't know if you found out or not, I've been working with Reasons to Believe, as you may know.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah. Now, because of the whole quarantine and kind of stuff, we might be modifying it a little bit for a little while, but they're very interested in having me a part of the Reasons to Believe team as a non-believer, which is unheard of, right?
Yeah, side project. That's right. I remember now.
But Hugh Ross, he thinks the world of me. Fuzz Rana and I get along great. We went out to lunch and it was like, dude, we couldn't shut up with each other, right? It was just like this.
We just had Hugh Ross on.
Did you?
And Carl Sagan's daughter, Sasha, we just had her on.
Oh, I didn't know that. When did you have Hugh Ross on? And Sasha, I did not know
Hugh Ross. Oh, this is Atheist and Christian Book Club, which I helped organize. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes we try to get them in person, but 9 times out of 10, they actually will come and sit there with us in the club, which is awesome. But Hugh Ross, that was a remote.
Yeah, I like you. Again, I don't agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I think he has a lot of views I absolutely do not agree with him on. But the difference is he really does believe his views, and he has Asperger's, and he's one of those people that doesn't. He's like you. Just beautifully naive. He doesn't understand things like harsh sarcasm and things like that. He doesn't understand when people are being mean. He doesn't, because he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He's just an absolutely nice guy. And
We have a
so-
title for the show, Steve.
What's that?
Jim Hall, Beautifully Naive.
Beautifully naive. There you go. But you don't have Asperger's. He
shit.
does, and you know, and he when you talk to him, you can just tell. When people say like Hugh Ross has a like beautiful spirit kind of thing, I think what they're reading is the fact that he just doesn't recognize there are some shit people out there. He doesn't.
I think
He
I
just
do
doesn't.
deep down. I'm hoping for the best.
All right, real quick, I got a message from Reds. He says, "Tell Jim I've never invited. So tell Jim I never invited him onto my channel. I was simply open to the idea. If it wasn't just going that idea, if you wasn't just going to rage quit after I told him what a piss poor job he did. Nothing more.
He's assuming I would rage quit. I've never rage quit in my life. I don't know what would give him that. And also, quote unquote, if you want the privilege of coming on my show, come on and you're going to have to take your lumps.
Yeah,
that sounds hostile.
That
sounds hostile to me.
Yeah, I'm just reading what he said, so just breathe. Nothing more, nothing. He asked me to, which I'm going to do. Nothing more, nothing less. If he's not willing to take his lumps, then I'm not willing.
No,
to
I'm
have
not
him
willing.
On my channel.
No,
if he
denied.
wants
I'm
to.
not
All right.
willing.
All right, well, that's fair.
Okay, case closed. He's a distant memory now. I don't mind keeping the lines of communication open. I don't block, ban, or censor. I'm not gonna block him. I'm not gonna get all pissy with it. But I don't care to come on a show. No, thank you.
All right, that's fair. You're not obligated. Here's the thing: we recognize that nobody's obligated to talk to anybody, right? I mean, it's better that you have your core values and your rules. Well, you know, one of the things in the Kate to Ray community, we have kind of unstated kind of rules. We have had years, and one of the unstated rules is that you can disengage with anybody at any time for any reason. This is something that I came up with, and that also would be you can infer to means you don't have to have a conversation with anybody you don't want either, right? I've said the same thing. You're not obligated to talk to anybody. You're not obligated to continue in a conversation. Don't think for anybody that you do. And I've always said this for the Great Debate community for a very long time. You're not obligated to. So there's no. I just want no bad blood there because there's no reason to be. You know.
No bad blood. I don't want to give that impression. I'm not. I wish nothing but the best for both Chesh and Reds. Same team. We're all in this together. I just don't want any chance of hostility. And I know Chesh. I see in her heart she is a good person, and I know she's capable of pulling off a cordial interview. And when she can do that, then I would love to come on.
She's very good
Reds
at that,
too.
actually. You know what's funny is Chess has a natural ability to really do sufficiently good interviews. I've seen her do them, and I don't think she had any practice at it per se, right? I don't think there's a skill that she developed over time. Like me, it had to be a skill that I developed over time. I think for her, it is something that kind of came naturally to her, which is kind of something I'm a little jealous of, or envious, I should say, of. But I was even pleasantly surprised. I've seen her interview. She can do a very good job. Do you think that maybe if
she's smart as a whip? Yeah. She's holy shit. Yeah, she's smarter than I could ever hope to be. It's just that we got to tone down the hostility. And you know what? I'm not trying to control her. I'm not trying to police her thoughts or actions. She can be exactly like she is now. Keep going. I personally don't want to be a part of that, but that's all right. Maybe the community needs some firebrand loudmouths. Not that I'm calling her a loudmouth. I didn't mean to say that, but you know what I mean. Maybe our community,
firebrand.
our community needs some people to mix things up. Maybe the community needs people like her. I just don't want her to be a part of it, if that makes any sense.
No, I get you. I do get you. By the way, Paul, I did take care of that. Andrew, I fixed, so it's done. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Any other? I'm just trying to search through any other questions before we kind of wrap it up a little bit, so you can get your drink on.
I'm out.
You had beer? Dude,
No,
you brought 3
I got
over.
more. I just don't want to leave the computer.
You drank all 3 of them already?
Yeah, all gone, baby.
Damn. Okay,
dude.
Whatever.
We're not all lightweights like you.
I am a lightweight, and it's so funny. The people that have been out with me, right? Like TJ, Jim, Majors, Sweet Heathen, and who else? I mean, they know I really cannot drink very much.
We have the photos to prove it.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I have some dollar for dono idiot thinking that I love vodka and I'm some kind of drunk, and I'm like, dude, I haven't had vodka in years, and I can't drink that much. I've got stomach ulcers.
I don't get a chance
to
to watch your rum and coke night, but do you drink rum while you're doing that?
No, very rarely. I drink brandy, scotch.
Okay.
And when I drink scotch, I drink it out of a scotch glass, and I put one finger in it, and that one finger lasts me about 2 hours.
Okay. It keeps you sharp because I can't tell you when TJ used to be on the show. You know TJ's gone, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So when we used to do some live shows together, man, 3 fingers became 3 more fingers. And before we knew it, sloppy, we don't remember the last hour of the show. It's not a professional way to run a
dude,
channel.
I've been shit faced before a couple years ago, especially. But
yeah.
you know, my stomach ulcers and things of that nature have prevented me from, and I just can't drink. In the last year, especially, it has been maybe a year and a half. I have been unable to really consume that much alcohol. Now, I have some rum and cokes, probably buy more than I should, which is like 3 drinks for me. But then I pay for it, and so I kind of avoid it. But yeah, I drink very little. But that's okay, because when I'm out with people, I don't mind being the designated person to make sure that everybody's okay. Like
my wife wants to remind all the viewers. My wife wants to remind all the viewers to wash your hands for 20 seconds, sneeze in your elbow, and stay 6 feet away from everybody. Just for everybody.
Just don't go leave your house. I haven't really gone anywhere. I went to the store the other day and it was ravished. I mean, there was no eggs, there was no milk, there was meat. Like 90% of the meat was gone. There was obviously no papers. It looked like a zombie freaking apocalypse. I'm not even exaggerating. And I was like, oh, it can't be that bad in my area. I'm a small town. There's there's like every place around here. You go a direction. There's a Stater Brothers or a Food for Less or some kind of Vons. How bad could it be, right? In a town of 65,000 people. Pfft.
My next door neighbors works for the local PD, and my military background. We're both just armed to the teeth. So we've devised a defense plan in case it gets worse. This is going to be the fortress stronghold for the entire neighborhood. If anyone wants to seek shelter or co-op to their add their canned goods to our canned goods and for a safe haven.
Yeah, I'll take crossbows. I said if it was a zombie apocalypse, somebody has to take crossbows and small arms fire. So I can do small arms because I used to have a concealed weapons permit. But I'm going to.
Everyone loves Daryl. Everyone loves Daryl. My girls loves Daryl.
Right?
I'm a Michonne guy. I love Michonne. But the rest of my family loves Daryl.
Dude, anybody can wield a machete, dude. You crossbow, man, that's the badass, man. That's the guy that you want covering your 6, you know? So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to ask for last minute questions. I appreciate you guys watching. What Cheshire is going to do, she'll probably have another show after this on her channel again. To kind of review anything from this that she wants to kind of do a wrap up. So this is
it's the inception
this
of
is like
Kyle and Curtis drama.
All day today we're doing. Yeah, we decided we'd get them all out of the way today and just get them done. So Cheshire's going to go back to her channel, I think. And
the poor viewers having to endure all this.
Dude, they love this shit. I don't
like Doorknob Head and Critical Crippled, the ones that never miss a show. They're just probably exhausted with this topic.
But I love them because they'll watch anything.
Yes.
And I mean that with the utmost respect. But they will, and I appreciate that. I really, honest to God, do. I really love my supporters and my subs and I will call them fans because people will go, Steve thinks he has fans. Well, I do, because when somebody writes me and says, "Hey, Steve, I'm a huge fan," that's gonna be a fan. That's, you get that too, right? You get people that are fans of Atheist Edge.
I used to drive Uber, and I was waiting for a passenger. I got out of the car to stretch my legs. I was at a mall, and there were some kids. The one movie had just let out, and there were some teenagers waiting for their rides, and 2 of them ran over to me and asked me to sign. They recognized me from the show and asked me to sign the back of their movie stub.
I have not been recognized anywhere.
That's crazy. Yeah. At the Last Faithless Forum, here comes Aaron in his truck with a flat tire, rolling in, limping in, right? So he's like, before I even go into the show, I'm gonna need to go get my. So we found a place, we limped it into the tire place, and somebody. I mean, these are. I'm not saying they're undocumented, but they're all native Spanish speakers. Let's say this: people that you would not maybe think follows Aaron. They recognized him. He got front of the line privileges. He got a new tire patched. Your money's no good here. Out the door. I was like, what?
And by the way, I know you're. Next time I know you have talked to Aaron, and I know that there's a little bit still contention between Aaron and I, unfortunately. But I want you to know, and I hope if you get it, able to tell him again, that it's not on my end. I have the utmost respect for Aaron. I'm always going to think that he's wrong, philosophically speaking. It's just the way it is, because 1 + 1 = 2, and he could think it's 3. Doesn't mean he's right. But that doesn't make him a bad guy. And I respect his stance on creationism wholeheartedly, right? I mean, I've known Aaron for a very long time. And I think it's sucky that he took a philosophical issue and made it personal. I don't know why he did that.
That's when it goes upside down is when
Yeah.
someone tries to make it personal. You're right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't follow all that, so I don't know. But yeah, if you, just like Chesh, God love her, fucking, she's got to start. No, I'm not going to impose she can do what she wants. But it would, maybe my recommendation would be to maybe start thinking more with your brain instead of your heart, and do not let your emotions control you. Unless, now some people, their channels are based on drama. That's their model.
Yeah.
Now, if that's
they're allowed to do that. I don't watch those channels though.
Yeah, go for that. I mean, some channels do that and they do it well. I don't patronize those.
I don't either.
But go for it. If your model is built on drama, hey, it's great views. I'll give you that. My channel's stuck at 8,000 subs for the rest of its life. It's never going to grow any bigger, and I'm okay with that because I don't want to be a drama merchant.
And we'll leave it on that a little bit because again, you had kind of implied that I did drama on my channel. I want to, for the record, that this channel does not do drama.
You get sucked into it.
I get
against
responsive.
Your will.
I get responsive to it because some things need to be addressed, but I don't so much as I used to because I moved on and I'm trying to focus on other things and I just don't have the wherewithal to bother with it. Plus, as a community, Cheshire, myself, Reds, and 100 some odd people at the time in the Great Debate community had all said we're not going to deal with these shit people any longer. Right? As a community, we're not even going to discuss many of them because we don't want to give them any attention. And I think that's the right action. Well, we did.
When are you going to start that?
Months ago.
Say I'm okay. We're not talking social media then, I guess.
We're talking social media. Yeah, you
were out
of the loop on that, and this is why when you were saying otherwise, you didn't get the memo on that because we don't talk about these people. There's certain names I don't even mention any longer.
But a lot of fans follow you on social media and the channel. They don't see two different Steves. They see one Steve. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I don't know. I mean, if you want to get sucked into the drama vortex on social media, it might hurt the channel maybe or not. Do you think it won't?
Well, it depends again, I think our understanding of drama is different a little bit. Right?
Oh, true. That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you say sucked in, no, when somebody makes a video about me and they put my name in the video, I don't watch it. So I can't get sucked into it. Right. I don't want anybody that I've blocked, and people know who I blocked. Now, Chester's block list is different from mine, right? She has her own block list for her own reasons, and we've never said, hey, block these people. We've never done that. If you want to ask her why you blocked this person, she'll tell you.
Here's my block list. There's my block list.
Wait till you get 10,000 subs and see how you think then.
Well, I'm 8 now, so but yeah, when you were 30,000, when the NonSequitur was at its zenith, then maybe if I was ever at 30,000, I might have to rethink my game. You're right,
and that's fine, right? But the thing is that we don't want to draw attention to people we think are horrible, shitty people, and so as a community, we decided against that. And so when I have a rule that I don't watch videos from the people that I've blocked, but I've never said you have to block this person to be a mod. That's some people lied about that, dude. They were like, well, if you want to be a mod for Steve, you've got to block certain people. Never have happened. I even had Jim. I swear to God, I had a narrative out there that my mods had to show ID before I would make them a mod. Do you see how many mods I used to have? Not one of them has shown me an ID. Not one.
Okay.
And what I did was I revamped everything because we had a rogue mod. I got rid of all of my moderators except for like one for every 1,000 kind of thing. That's my rule now is one for every 1,000. And the reason for it is it just looks too bluish. And I obviously Chesh, obviously Bullinator, obviously Red's Rhetoric. I'll probably have Williamson, Glenn Williamson, but people that are in my really inner circle. So not that anybody else did anything wrong, not that I don't care about them. It's just I don't want a sea of blue.
Well, as long as you can be sure there's at least going to be one in every live chat.
Right, and that's kind of the goal, right?
So
like Chester's here
that's the goal. Yeah, you don't need more than one.
Yeah, and I've had to learn that over the years, dude. But like on the Great Debate community, the other channel, the reason I had a lot of mods is they were all like vetted. And what I mean by vetted is, man, they can come in and they're not going to porn bomb, right? And some idiot took that when they say vetted to run a slick narrative as, well, Steve wants to know all about somebody and he runs a background check and asks for ID for all the mods. And I'm like, really? But people buy into this shit. As you said, drama sells. That's drama. When you're lying,
that's creating drama out of thin air.
That's what I call drama. And that has never happened in this channel. Everything I've ever addressed, I stand by and I believe in it, right? Lily, I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to help out Lily Jean. And I stand by that, right? And yet, Kyle thinks that's a deficit. I'm like, so you think helping a 15-year-old girl that's been harassed, an 18-year-old girl that's been harassed for 3 years is a deficit? Okay, we have a different understanding of that then, right? but I pride myself on that. Me standing up for myself against false charges and accusations, I stand by that.
Wasn't Chesh, was she being harassed too at some point? And she had to actually, did she have to move or something?
She did move.
Like physically move?
She did, but not because of that though.
Oh, okay. All right. But, I don't know. Vaguely remember.
But we had friends get death threats, right?
I called the police last week. I had 2 people pounding on my windows, and I locked and loaded, went to the peephole. Someone had their hand over the peephole, and of course I called my next door neighbor, who's a cop. So he went out first and did his tactical thing. There was nobody, but. And I had a fan say, do you think it's because of having Kyle on or haters? And I said, definitely not. It's probably because of, my second book was written under a pen name, Stephanie Chase, but I wrote this, and it's heavily critical of Islam. So I'm thinking, if anything show related, it has depictions of Muhammad in it. So if anything, it was that. But yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, my address
they were
is public.
Scared shitless.
We all here's the thing. When you're a public person, and I don't mean a public figure because I'm not a public figure, but I am out in public, right? Whenever you are a public person and you put yourself out there, you have to expect there are going to be people out there that are going to be possibly horrible to you and try to harm you. It's just the way it is. That to think otherwise is naive, right?
Yeah.
And
you have to be prepared for it.
And you have to be prepared for it. And I've long since recognized that, man. I mean, the people that have been, my haters and detractors and people that have stalked me. And by the way, I do call it social stalking because it is. Like I said to you, I ignore all of them. I don't watch their stuff, which I wish you would have given more pushback on that because you could say I get sucked into it. I don't. I just don't.
You're still going to have to convince me a little more because.
Fair enough.
Okay. Let me name some names that people I've had on my show.
Okay.
Gaspar. T-Jump.
Okay, wait. Okay, one at a time.
Okay.
Gaspar has admitted.
Nate Brody.
One at a time.
Okay.
Gaspar has admitted he was trolling me, and I said I don't want to have anything to do with you.
I don't want to rehash it. Right? I'm sure your fans all know the controversy.
There's reasons why I blocked.
Now I love you. You know I love you.
But that doesn't mean you can't talk to Gaspar, right? I never said you can't be friends with him.
See, that's how I know our friendship. That's how I know our friendship.
And by the way, nobody in here probably knows who Gaspar is, right?
Right. Even though I deal with Dragnot. Yes. Hey, Steve fans. I talked to Dragnot. I might have him on my show again. And guess what, Steve and it's not going to affect our friendship. Look at that. There's an example for the rest of you all to emulate. That's how it works.
And this is what I said. People can have on who they want. I never cared. It's when you support a certain person. Like I distanced myself from the Geek Room because of who they were supporting and the fact that they didn't stand by Bullinator.
Right.
I stand by Bullinator. He's one of my best friends. I love the guy. It's not tribalism.
I don't know what happened there.
Well,
I don't know what happened
there. It's long and involved, but
I love the Geek Room.
Long story short, I supported the Geek Room. I could no longer do it, but I didn't say anything about them personally. It's just that I cannot support what has transpired, and I refuse to, and I'll stand by my friend because I believe he's completely in the right. And so, but then they started going after me personally, and I'm like, why? I'm the one that helped them get off the ground, kind of, so to speak. I mean,
what did you call me? The beautiful idiot, the beautiful naive guy, or something?
Beautiful naivety. How about that?
Beautiful naivety.
Yeah.
And I will give you a moniker then. Reluctant drama vortex. You see?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, people try to suck me into stuff, right? And this is why. But this is why I just want you to know, and I'll leave it with that, is that I don't get sucked into it as much as I definitely used to because I don't watch their stuff. Now, if I don't watch their stuff, I can't get sucked into anything, right? That makes sense?
Yep, totally.
Okay, so 99% of that stuff is no longer applicable because I just don't watch any of that crap. If people want to watch it, go ahead. If you want, I think if you support certain people, that I probably will look at you differently, not you specifically, but I mean individuals who say, oh, you know what, I'm going to support this person who's actually causing harm. I think that you probably are going to be a not a great person, and I'm not going to trust you very much. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have you around the channel or something like that. It's just that I think certain people supporting certain people are not good people. That's it.
If anyone goes back and watches that interview with Kyle and thinks for a second that I support any of his actions, I didn't explain myself probably very well, and I apologize because under no circumstance there is no possible universe in which I support any of the actions that he's made regarding this court case. Right. I just want that on the record.
All right, we'll leave it at that then. So we're gonna like I said, we'll wrap it up. I'm glad that you said that, by the way, because I think maybe people got the wrong impression. And I know you well enough. Like I said, I met you in real life. You're my brother. You've got a big heart. And maybe a few of them thought you might have been taking Kyle's side. But I want it on the record that there's no way you condone anything that he's done.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because
Thanks,
I mean,
Steve.
that to me clears it up a lot of things, because I don't want people thinking bad of you.
Let's do a military show maybe next week when you get time.
Yeah, no, yeah, on AT2. How about, I didn't get the last one, but AT2, Jared does his Veterans Weekly, and you and I should actually go to that.
You can come on my show and let's just shoot the shit out.
I would do that
let's
too. We'll do
bore
both.
everyone with military terminology. Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan. All right, guys. All right, so like I said, I will put some of the stuff in the video links in the description, like I was talking about, like my letter to Mr. Atheist, Cheshire's last video from this morning, and then I'll put a video in that she does later on tonight in there as well once she does it. So go over to Cheshire's channel and if you haven't subscribed to her already, she has a blue wrench right there, so you can go do it now. And also, I've asked people earlier, and I didn't get any response, but I don't need like 12 more subs to get back to 13,000, and again, I haven't really pushed this channel, but that 0.9 is OCDing me. It's like 12.9. It's just not sitting right with me. It's like 12 away from 13,000. Can I get 12 subs, guys? Can somebody out there put this video or some video on some social media and say, do a sub drive for me, or on their channel say, hey, go subscribe to Steve. I don't need 12 subs. I'm not asking for like 20,000 subs here. 12, okay? 12. So if you want to help me out, people always ask me, what can you do to help out? There you go. Get me 12 subs, okay? I don't think it's asking for more. I had my 50th birthday. You know what I did? I did nothing. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't have a drive. I didn't, do a show. You know what I did? I stayed home, and I had a nice, quiet evening drinking wine with Sweet Heathen.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
And that's all that mattered to me.
That's all that matters.
You got to appreciate the stuff that really makes a difference in your life, and the people that you care about. And I care about you, Jim. You are my brother, military and otherwise, and
I love you.
And I love you too, man. So, guys, thanks a lot for watching this. And like I said, I will put Cheshire's link in when we're done. But go watch her stuff too, okay? And good night.